Jupiter Broadcasting presents this program in stereo, where available.
This episode brought to you by the mighty attractive people over at GoDaddy.com and the super intelligent folks of GOG.com. This week on the Linux Action Show, is the latest release of KDE the best yet? Or really stinking terrible? Tune in to find out. Plus, we share the latest news on the brand spanking new Spark tablet. And so much more. Oh, this weekend and week, the rest of the week of the Linux Action Show! And welcome to the Linux Action Show season... Hold on, let me scroll up. 20, episode 7. My name is Brian. That guy is Chris.
Hey there, Brian. This transparent grenade runs Linux.
Of course it does. If you had a transparent grenade, what would you put on it?
So, for those of you watching the video version, you get an extra treat here. But those of you on audio, just picture your classic grenade, only see-through, and a nice chrome top to it, a pin.
It is really classy looking, actually.
Yeah. And if I scroll down here, check this out. Here, I'll give you the guts of it. It runs on a gum sticks.
I love the gum sticks, yeah.
It's got a Cortex A8 ARM processor in it. It's got...
Arduino Nano.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. It's got a 3.7-volt battery, 802.11 on board for Wi-Fi. It's got a micro SD card slot, and of course, it runs Linux. They're working on expanding it to run on Android. And
Android. So you could have an Android grenade.
Yeah, I gotta fix my tech snapshot. Yeah, you can have an. So the idea is it's not actually it doesn't actually blow up. It's like a surveillance grenade. So like,
does it have a camera in it?
You pull the pin. Yeah, you can put you pull the pin and you can throw it into a situation. I don't know, but it's got a mic.
It's got a pin in it.
It's got a mic. It's got 802.11, and it's got a camera. And then in the future version, it's going to have a cellular modem, so it can run completely independently running on top of Android.
Honestly, I don't see what you use this for other than running into somewhere like, I don't know, a woman's locker room, opening the door, yelling, "Grenade!" and just throwing it in the middle and just seeing what you get, you know?
That would be pretty great. So now, happy B-Day, B-Man.
Thanks. Birthday was yesterday. I'm 33 years old. It's fantastic. Guess what my family got me?
Goat hay.
No, that would have been nice because I got to get more goat hay this week. That actually would have saved me a trip out to the boonies and everything.
I'm about you, man.
But no, they got me something better. They got me a full night's sleep.
Oh,
I laid down like 9:30, woke up like 7:38.
Wow.
I slept all freaking night long. It was delightful.
Did you think you'd like woken up into like some sort of strange universe?
I woke up. It was a little dark still. It was just getting light outside. Yeah. I thought it must be like I was delirious. It was dark. I thought, oh, it's midnight. Oh, I got this one, honey. Oh, the kid got up. Okay. I got this one, honey. And I got up. My wife was looking at me like, you're retarded. But it was fantastic.
Well, that's good. That's a gift that you just can't put a price tag on.
No, you seriously can't. I'm like, you don't have to give me anything else. That was amazing.
We got our big show today, Brian. Our big show. We're finally going to get off our butts and review KDE 4.8. Of course, it hasn't been out for that long.
It hasn't been out for that long.
I made the proclamation.
That's a big deal, though.
Yeah, and I made the proclamation last week that I was switching to KDE.
Yeah, so what you're saying is there's no way you'll have anything bad to say. You were just going to be glowing about this review.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But speaking of presents that you can't put a price on, Brian, I'd like to say good morning
to Danica Patrick.
Thank
you, Danica Patrick.
GoDaddy.com.
DanicaPatrick.com, probably.
Now, I'll tell you, Brian. See, they've got .coms and .cos. Everybody knows about that. In fact, we've got a code for .cos in our show notes, which will save you a ton of money.
A code for cos?
A code for cos.
I like code for cos.
But if you use the code Linux, you'll save 10% when you check out. And if you use Linux 20, you'll save 20% on hosting plans.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah,
the thing that strikes me about that is that 20% is not an insignificant number.
No. In fact, there's a deal we've got going just for the month of February, B-Man, and I know this is February right now. It ends at the end of February, and if you use the code HOSTFEB7, HOSTFEB7.
Does it have to be like all upper or lowercase?
No, I don't think so, man. It's just whatever strikes your fancy.
God, that sounds complicated.
You get the fancy hosting, the deluxe hosting for the price of economy if you use that code.
HOSTFEB7.
Yep.
One word.
And I'll tell you, Danica is not impressed by the economy hosting.
No.
If you want to get her attention, you got to go.
You got to go deluxe or ultimate for Danica.
You got it.
And really, since the deluxe is the price of the economy, you might as well go deluxe because, you know, drive the cheapest you can get, or have the cheapest you can get while still getting Danica's attention. That's how you do it.
That's what I would say. Plus,
absolutely.
If you buy it now, hold on to it till after the month of February, then she'll have no idea that you might have got it on a discount. So she might think you're paying full price for deluxe hosting when really you're only paying economy.
And here's the thing, you can go it up to $10 a month and get the ultimate hosting, but really at that point Danica's going to say, you compensating for something?
Yeah.
Like what exactly are you what is your shortcoming here?
You don't want to send Danica the wrong message.
No.
Right? You want
Dear
her to know
God,
you're
no.
a confident man and you use the big boy hosting.
You use the big boy hosting.
So that's host Feb 7.
That's two things Danica wants to know. Big boy hosting, big boy potty.
So there you go. And thanks to GoDaddy for their support.
All right. Give me your pick. You got an Android pick, right?
I got an Android pick, and I tell you, Brian, I feel gamey today. A little gamey. Could be the paleo diet, and I'm eating a bunch of meat, but
I kind of smell gamey.
I think it's because I have a game app pick this week for Android, and it is Osmos.
Osmos. It's a good game.
It is a good game. In fact,
very atmospheric.
I'm kind of surprised I haven't covered it before on the big show because it's kind of up my alley.
Plays good on a tablet.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a real chill game. You're like this single cell thing.
You're a little cellular amoeba doodad.
Yeah.
And you spit yourself out to move around.
And what I like about it is it's got some nice chillax music. It's not like this high adrenaline situation. So if you just want to sit back and kind of just have fun and kill some time, but not really stress yourself out or anything like that, it's a really good one. Plus, you know, the nice thing about app suspending is you can jump out, go take care of something, jump right back in and keep playing.
Yeah.
So I've linked in the show notes. Osmos is the free version, a demo. I've paid for it. It's a great game.
It's so cheap. It's like a couple bucks.
Yeah, it's like a couple of bucks. And it's the perfect thing for a tablet because a tablet is a hard game to get right for games. It's a hard thing, right? Because a lot of people try to do the tilt thing. A lot of people try to do the on-screen controls.
That's terrible.
This is much easier to control. You just move it around and you
just hit the screen. You don't even tap the screen that often. You're like tap.
Yeah.
Oh, no, go that way.
Yeah.
Tap. It's great. It's totally relaxed.
Yeah.
It's a good one to honestly to play in bed. If you're laying in bed and you got a little insomnia, but you don't want to get out of bed because it's cold, you grab this and you just tap.
Totally.
Your brain doesn't even turn on. It's fantastic.
You're on the bus, you're waiting in line, anything like that.
Anything like that is accurate.
So I will toss a link to that. That's Osmos in the show notes. You can find that along with all the other Android picks, thanks to Majo who does that. So yeah, go check it out. Yeah, $2.99 for Osmos HD.
Oh, come on. $3.
Yeah, and if you have a tablet, I would totally recommend you go that way.
That's just nothing for a game.
This is one of those games that I pick up, I play for a little bit, I set it aside, I come back.
Yeah, you pass one more level.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many levels it's got. I played through a bunch of them, but I've played through them over the course of a year.
All right, B-Man.
It's great.
Let's go to your Linux desktop pick because it's an exciting one.
All right, so my Linux desktop pick this week is totally a cop-out in a way. It's my game because I released a game and it's for Linux and I'm really ridiculously excited about it, so I want to talk about it constantly nonstop, and this is the best way I can think of to do that. It's $22.99. The game. All in caps. You can go to 2299online.com/thegame and you can download the game once you pay for it. There's no demo. There's just screenshots.
Yeah.
If you look around on YouTube, you can find some video that has someone game playing. Here's the thing. It doesn't need a demo. If you've ever played an adventure game, there's buttons on the top for moving, for looking, for using, for talking, an inventory, and then a big map. It's an adventure game. You have an inventory. You click on things. There's witty dialogue. You solve puzzles, and you are pleased with the story. That's how it works.
Works on Linux.
Works on Linux.
Works on some other ones.
Works on the other things. But here's the thing. It runs great on desktop Linux. If you buy it, it's $5. You get it free of DRM. There's no DRM. There's no registration code. There's no unlock code.
Right on.
There's no tying it to anything.
Right
you
on.
just simply get some links to download my game with no DRM. You get a tar GZ. You get some 32-bit and 64-bit Debian packages. And I'm going to try and get some RPMs up there for you Fedora and SUSE guys as well.
Why does it feel like no DRM and no activation server are old school? Like, why does that feel old school? How ridiculous is that?
Well, it's the old ways. We're going back to the old ways more and more.
Good on you, man.
Yeah.
So I'll say I really was impressed.
Honestly, actually, if you could go back to the main thing.
That
here.
one, the main.
The game website here. All right, so I put this website together. Look how Spartan it is. I seriously was trying my best, and I'm not the best at this, but I was trying my best to mimic the back of a software game box from the store.
I totally see it.
And I was trying to put the screenshots on the one side, a little bit of random buy this game text, and then big thing up top, because I wanted this experience to be like going down to like Egghead Software or something like that, or Software Etc. or one of those stores, grabbing this off the store shelves, deciding to buy it, never having played a demo, brought it home because you know the kind of game it is and enjoying it.
Yeah.
So that's the experience I was going for.
I was super impressed too with the soundtrack you have in that thing. I was like,
you like that?
I want that. Yeah.
It just makes you calm because it's so quiet.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah.
Good. No, actually, there's sounds
no
to it.
sound.
I know, no, there's sounds though. There's sounds, but there's no soundtrack. Yeah. No, actually though, I haven't got a chance to play it.
You haven't got a chance?
No, I haven't gotten my copy yet. Oh, I
forgot to send it to you, didn't I? Oh man, you are entitled to a free copy.
That was my subtle way to tell you that I didn't get a copy. I mean, I'll buy it. It's $5.
Oh no. But it's all right. But yeah. So this is my game,
dude. Give me a fist bump. That is super awesome.
And yes, it comes as a plain binary. You can get a little tar GZ archive. That's just the binary and a little PNG file you can use as your icon. So if you want to like put it in whatever window manager you want, here's an icon you can use and go nuts.
You include. That's awesome. I remember talking to you about this a long time ago. It's so cool to finally see it ship, and everybody should go check it out. $22.99online.com/thegame.
Absolutely. If you like adventure games, you like old school 8-bit graphics or 16-bit graphics, because it's kind of in the middle, to be honest with you. If you like sci-fi, or you like my webcomic $22.99, or you like me, or you like Jupiter Broadcasting, you'll probably want to buy this game because it's only $5.
Yeah. All right, B-Man.
And it's my birthday.
Let's, oh yeah, it is, yeah. I know it came out on Valentine's Day.
And it came out on Valentine's Day. How white is that?
Let's spin the random distro spinner and land on a distro for this week. Our pick for our Linux distro this week. Take it, B-Man.
Great. Is Quart. Do you have a screenshot of that? Oh, you do. You do.
I'll go grab the screens.
All right, Quart is cool. Quart is an entirely different thing than what we had here. It is based on Crux.
Yeah.
Which is cool because how many times have we reviewed Crux?
Never.
We never have.
No.
And I thought about that long and hard. I'm like, that's a mistake. Like we have never reviewed Crux. But then I thought about it and I'm like, I don't know that the other shows out there have either. And I'm like, I realized that the big like desktoplinux.com and Slashdot, they don't talk about Crux either. But they should. One time we're going to have to give a little love to Crux.
Yeah.
But Quart is basically this nice, very cool distro that sits on top of Crux. And it's basically puts a lot of default applications and a lot of configurations on top of Crux.
Yeah, you get your standard LibreOffice, you get Firefox 7, you get kernel Series 3. They'll also have Chromium in there. But really it's more about checking out Crux.
It really is. Yeah. And I mean, the screenshots look nice.
Yeah.
I've downloaded the ISO and have not played with it.
Yeah.
But I looked through all the screenshots and I looked through what they were doing and I'm like, honestly, Crux deserves a look. This is making me realize that Crux needs a review.
Yeah, I agree.
I have nothing to say about it. That's the problem.
We need to start like a short list of distros that we've got to review on the show, just almost like a list of shame.
I know.
Like
a list of shame.
A list of shame.
How have we not?
Yeah. So actually, if people want to submit their suggestions to our subreddit, go over to Reddit. Or actually, it's easiest to go to linuxactionshow.reddit.com. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that silly /r/.
Oh gosh, /r.
Too many slashes.
I can't type that.
No,
I can't type that.
No, that's because
it's an extra R and an extra slash. I don't have in me.
You yanked the R button off your keyboard 5 years ago.
Gone. You know my game, $22.99, the game, which you can get at $22.99online.com/the game. Yeah. I took all the R's out.
No, you can't have R's.
You can't have R's.
It's 2012, Brian.
Yeah. No, it's the 23rd century right now, and there are no R's in the 23rd century.
Right. Man, I'm all set to go here because I'm pretty excited. We got to get into a big show, but
we got a big show.
We got an extra sponsor this week. We got an additional sponsor for the Linux Action Show. Actually, for the whole Jupiter Broadcasting Network.
I'm so excited about this.
This could not be.
I'm so excited about this.
This could not be a better sponsor for our network. It is GOG.com. Everybody knows GOG.com.
Everybody knows GOG. They used to call themselves Good Old Games. They've taken that moniker away, and they're just going with GOG.com because they also do sell new games that are DRM free, cross-platform. Well, not to say cross-platform, but sometimes. But DRM free is the big thing, and they give so many extras with their games. Like you go in and you buy like a copy of Descent or something like that, and they'll give you you like the MP3 soundtrack and full scan PDF manuals.
Here's Deus Ex. Look, you get HD wallpapers, you get reference card, the soundtrack, you get Avidar, and that is like on the lean side of the stuff you get. Like some of them include like mission level packs and all kinds. I mean, the extras are incredible. But you know, this right here, $9.99, is their expensive side.
Like that's as expensive as it gets. Really, there's one or two others. Like I think The Witcher might be more expensive, but that's a brand new game. But really, I have bought so many games from them. Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. I was there's a wish list thing over on GOG.com. Yeah, where if you go into the wish,
they call them GOG mixes.
The mixes, yeah. You type in things like DOSBox, because if you're like, well, I run Linux, but GOG's installer is a Windows installer. Here's a good thing to know: the GOG installer runs perfectly under Wine with no problems. I've never encountered a game with a problem. So if you install the GOG installer under Wine, sure, the games can then run under Wine if you want to. But what's cool is there's a mixes here that is GOG games using DOSBox. Yeah. Which means you can go through any of those games. They run with DOSBox. The guy tested them under a specific versions of DOSBox.
Got little notes in here, tells you which ones they'll work with.
Once it's installed, you go to your Wine C drive folder, copy out the folder for the game, and boom, boot it up in your Linux native version of DOSBox. Like, create little shortcuts for them, and boom, basically you've got Linux native games essentially at that point. It's awesome.
Here's that DOSBox list that you made of all the games that are compatible under DOSBox. Duke Nukem, of course, is on there, but look at this. Descent and Descent 2
for $6.
For $6, includes the manuals, wallpapers, reference cards, soundtracks. Also works on the Mac, this one, and it works in DOSBox, so hell, anything that does DOSBox, I suppose. But do you remember Descent? I mean,
I love
classic
Descent.
is Descent,
Descent's
right?
awesome.
Right. Now, here's the thing. GOG.com is doing a deal for February only, where if you buy 2 or more games, you save 10%.
Which is pretty cool.
You can get like 2 of these great games for like $11.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the funny thing, though. I mean, 10%'s great. I don't mean to knock GOG at all, but if you go in and you buy 2 games from GOG, you're spending like $10. You're saving like at most $1.
That's because they're so cheap.
Like it's so cheap anyway.
No, it's for sure.
Well, and here's the other thing. So there's a lot of games on here that they sell that there are open source projects that let you run the games under Linux natively, including FreeSpace and FreeSpace 2.
Oh, which are our picks for this episode.
Which are great. That's what we love.
Oh, man. So can we just talk a little bit about FreeSpace 2? I mean, FreeSpace is great. You know, it's the beginning of the Great War in space, but FreeSpace 2 just takes it up to another notch.
It's classic.
I mean, this is the space combat simulator.
And it still looks great even for today. I mean, granted, it is dated graphics, but they look so atmospheric and awesome. If you want like a real-time action twitchy simulation space shooter game, FreeSpace is king.
And you know what? You can go buy this game from GOG.com, and if you want, you can even go check out the open source FreeSpace 2 project, which does need components from the game.
Yeah, no, here's what you do. You go to GOG.com, you buy FreeSpace 2, download it, install it using Wine. You can toss that all when you're done with it, and even get remove Wine if you want. Install it with Wine, copy the game data folders over to the open source FreeSpace 2 project, boot that up, boom, running natively in Linux with some enhancements, with nice tight controls.
There's all kinds
control
of community stuff you can do with it.
It's fantastic.
Oh, it's awesome.
Awesome.
So go check out GOG.com. We'll have links in the show notes. I'll include links to FreeSpace 1 and 2. And also, by the way, FreeSpace 1 includes the expansion pack. You know what's great about these games is back in the day,
everything.
We were playing these off CD-ROM, but now it's like 830 megabytes for the entire thing. You play it off your hard drive. It is so fast.
It's crazy fast.
It's so fast.
You end up having to go into DOSBox and lowering the frame rate and reducing the cycles because you got to machines are just cranking through this. It's awesome. I love it.
Take advantage of that 10% offer. I'll include links to FreeSpace and FreeSpace 2 in the show notes. What's crazy is
a lot of these games run great on my Nokia N900 running DOSBox, and they run good on my Android tablet running DOSBox too.
I'll also include
not all of them, but a lot of them do.
I'll also include a link to this GOG mix that's all of the DOSBox games that this guy's gone through.
It's
a massive list. Tons of great stuff that'll run under Linux.
It's a little outdated. It's a little outdated, but honestly, there's so many games on here to get you started. It'll take you years to get to the end.
And you know, the great thing is GOG.com is really the type of sponsor that I want. This is now that I'm doing this full time. These are the types of companies that I want to bring into our programming.
Quality,
just awesome people.
They're totally opposed to digital rights management. They're awesome. All their games are DRM free. Lots of extras. They empower the user. They make it easy for us to grab it.
Treating the customer with respect.
It's totally really awesome.
One last thing, if you go check them out on Twitter, say thanks to them for supporting the Linux Action Show and Jupiter Broadcasting so we can have them on again. Just find them on twitter.com/GOG.com. And also, they also mentioned on here that Age of Wonder series is 50% off for 24 hours. So if you're watching this now...
It's like midnight tonight. So if you're catching the show on Sunday, you can get Age of Wonder series half off.
Yeah, half off.
Yeah,
so
pretty cool.
So thanks to GOG.com for sponsoring the Linux Action Show and the entire week of Jupiter Broadcasting.
Here's the thing. I hope to God they keep sponsoring the show. Not for the money thing, but I'd really like to keep talking about them, and I'm probably going to anyway.
I know.
And so, I mean, you guys, wait a minute.
We don't want to give the milk away.
I mean, guys, you totally have to pay us for us to talk about you. Is what I mean.
All right, B-Man, I think that's everything in the top of the show. Let's do the news.
What is new in the news this week?
Oh, right, Brian, I will tell you what is new in the news this week. Our top story on the news docket.
I really like that.
The Spark tablet is available for pre-order.
Hell yes.
Hell yes.
I got a little story to tell.
You already pre-ordered one.
I already pre-ordered one.
Yeah, me too.
Obviously. So you remember last week we gave Aaron a really hard time. I'm like, I need to know about this before other people do.
Dude, you're not going to out him on the air, are you? I don't know if he wants you to tell people this.
But he told me about it.
Oh, well, okay, all right.
And he told me, he sent me this little wink email. He's like, the page isn't quite finished yet. Don't tell anybody. But if you go ahead and register, it'll be a little ahead of time. I'm like, yes, I will. The reason I'm saying this, and this is the reason I'm saying this.
Okay.
You remember, Aaron told us a lot of things about the Spark tablet last week.
He did, yeah.
If you haven't seen that episode, go back and watch it.
Last
Now, at this point, we haven't laid our hands on it.
No.
So we're just taking him at his word on this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Aaron said he would give me advance notice on this, just a little bit. And you know what he did?
He did.
He followed through.
That is true.
Aaron
That's a good sign.
Saigo was a man of his word.
Yeah.
Which means that is better odds that everything else he said was not a giant sack of hooey, which means good things for this tablet.
So I'm insanely excited. I don't know what the U.S. price is yet, but I went ahead and put my hat in.
It's like $260.
Yeah, so you and I both took a real pre-order strategy to this. Because remember, we were talking over IM, and I'm like, Brian, dude, I'm tempted to put in like at least 2 for the pre-order thing, but I'm worried that I'm going to ruin my chances of getting one.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Like, what was your strategy?
I know. I was going to go with 2, and I was like, wait. Well, what if that bumps me down to the list somehow? I'm like, no.
Right.
So I'm gonna pre-order 1.
Yeah.
Here's what you do. You go over to makePlayLive.com. Live.
I don't know. Make
Play Live. I think it's Make Play Live. I don't know.
Probably.
So one of those. You can figure that out. Go over there. It's in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
You put in your name and email address and how many you want in your region, and that's it. You don't pay right now. What you're doing is you're registering for a code to allow you to actually order before everyone else does. Basically, you're getting your ticket to wait in line for the pre-order.
Right.
So if you want one, go now.
Yeah.
Because I think they're gonna. I don't see how they're not gonna run out of these.
And it's been percolating throughout the internet for the whole week. So if you're just now hearing about it through our show, you really need to act on it.
You need to just pause the show, do this, and then come back and hit play again. Because this is
I have not been more excited about a new hardware release
in
a very long time.
Long time.
Yeah. Probably when I was waiting to get my Nexus. Because I thought that was just going to be the most amazing phone ever. I was really, and I wasn't even excited for. I'm more excited for this.
Yeah,
it's so great. I'll tell you, B-Man,
pretty top notch.
A little tip of the hat towards the KDE review. I'll just vent a little negative steam. Is after using 4.8 for a week.
Yeah.
I'm not totally convinced that all of it's going to translate very well to a touch interface.
What?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk
about that, Mr. Switching to KDE full time.
But you know. I gotta say, even if it's not a perfect touch interface,
it looks pretty good.
I believe they can iterate because I mean if anything, open source iterates.
Oh my
fast.
gosh! And we've seen how fast KDE has improved since 4.0.
And if the stock image it ships with isn't great, it's an open hardware platform. You're going to see other images.
Yeah, install a different window manager.
Please,
call it good.
Please. So yeah. All right. Well, why don't we keep on the embedded track here and talk about another popular? I don't know. I guess would you call these distros? These spins of Android, these, everybody knows CyanogenMod. They're the most popular ROM distro out there, and I'm going to call them distros because that's kind of what they are.
It's a distro of gingerbread Android.
And they put out a plea. They said, "Hey guys, we need your help." Now, CyanogenMod's had some staffing change up recently, and they've had some issues getting their nightly builds out. The server farm they've been utilizing, which was a pretty significant server farm, became unavailable. And so, nightlies were dropping off. People are having troubles bug shooting. And they put out this call saying, hey, we want to buy a whole bunch of servers and we need some funding. So I was ready to come on here on the show and get everybody all galvanized to go help CyanogenMod because they're bringing freedom to Android phones.
I do like freedom. Yeah, freedom's good.
Well, right before the show went live, I went and double-checked their Google Plus page, thanks to our handy Reddit, and boom, updated yesterday. They have reached their financing goal within 8 hours. They're super pleased, and Bob's your uncle. They're going to build their server farm, and CyanogenMod should get back on track.
That's awesome. I love it.
So great news. Great news. Congrats to those guys.
Good job, the community over at CyanogenMod.
And interesting to see how some of these indie funding...
Dude, independent funding is going crazy lately with all the news about Kickstarter project breaking records here and there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it's funny because I feel like we're living in a time, maybe this is my perception because I'm so poor right now, but it seems like everybody is broke.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like, at least in the US, that everybody has less money than they've ever had, but yet these indie things like the Humble Bundle or like you mentioned, some of the Kickstarter projects or this are still getting passionately funded by user base.
And people are excited about giving their money to a couple of individuals rather than giving their money to
big,
like a huge corporation. Yeah, exactly. I mean, people are excited about supporting the mom and pop shops, and that bodes really well for me. But it's exciting. I feel better about it too.
I think it's blowback on big companies. I really do. I think people are getting sick and tired of it. All right. Well, let's talk about a piece of software that you and I have put on our favorite open source list a couple of times, and that is VLC, because they've just hit 2.0 officially this week. You know what's big in this version? Blu-ray support.
Yeah.
Blu-ray support. It doesn't have menu support inside the Blu-ray yet,
but can play the video.
Who cares? Also, just nice a little nicety for Jupiter Broadcasting is it includes a new feature for live video streaming. So it'll make our video stream where you can break it outside of Flash and pull it right into VLC a little smoother. Yep. It's a little more modernized. It's the same implementation that I think Safari on the iOS uses. It's pretty cool. It's good.
It's good. And plus now they have nicer multi-core support. So if you have multiple cores, multiple processors going on.
So that should make solid. That actually should be a nice improvement for WebM. The last thing is, this is one of those things that's really only good for Jupiter Broadcasting, but FFmpeg recently introduced...
They do most of what they do just for us.
I kind of have been grokking that lately. FFmpeg introduced support for ProRes, which is the Apple video file format, and nothing on any platform except for Mac OS X plays it. QuickTime Pro on Windows can play it kinda. But if you're on Linux...
Dorkily.
If you're on Linux, you're screwed. Yeah, well, it turns out ProRes is actually a decent codec, and FFmpeg now has support for it. VLC 2.0 ships with that FFmpeg.
That's way cool.
So VLC now has ProRes support. Way cool. So
it makes it easy to convert between formats.
I'm really because VLC has a great converter. I'm really excited about that. All right, B-Man. Something that I think we talked a lot about back in the day with the show, but really with things like XBMC and Boxy, we just really haven't talked about Myth TV much.
Yeah, we haven't. Man, we did a big Myth TV, build your own Myth TV system.
Do you remember that vendor who was starting up a custom-built
And we
PC?
got excited about that.
And we got to see one, I think it was awesome, but then they didn't quite make it work. I mean, for a while, Myth TV had a lot of stink behind it.
Yeah, Myth TV was pretty exciting for a while, but then exactly. It lost interest. I think a lot of people stopped doing the live TV part and just did the streaming and record and playback of files.
Maybe so. So a longtime contributor to VLC, Mark Kendall, is forking. Or did I say VLC? I meant Myth TV.
Myth TV.
He's forking Myth TV and he's calling it Torque. Torc.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it is a good name. Yeah. He's already begun ripping out a bunch of legacy code. He's trying to modernize it, and
that's good.
When you look at Myth TV, you can tell
it's got a lot of crust around the edges. Yeah. Myth TV is awesome. I can't say bad things about Myth TV because it's great, but it does. It's got a lot of baggage it comes with.
The guy behind this fork, Mark, is also the guy that brought things like AirPlay support into VLC, VDA support, major just playback improvements in general. So this guy has a good track record.
This is what he does.
Yeah.
He does video stuff.
I'm pretty curious to see where Torque goes. So it's officially going on the Linux Action Show radar as a project that we're going to keep monitoring.
We'll watch it. When a big release hits, we'll definitely do a review of this. That'll be cool.
All right, B-Man. Moving right along. Something we don't talk about too often, and actually we got called out for it in the Linux Action Show subreddit this week, is we don't talk about SUSE Gallery enough.
SUSE Studio and SUSE Gallery.
Yeah.
SUSE Gallery, yeah. We don't talk about them a whole heck of a lot.
Right. You've talked about Studio a bit.
Well, yeah. I mean, I won the Studio Award last year for the Illumination Software Creation Station, which you can actually download from radicalbreeze.com. But one of the cool things they added just recently, and I thought this was mixed, but super cool. So one of the cool things about SUSE Studio is you kind of build your own distro based on OpenSUSE, and that's cool.
You can plug in different software repos and stuff.
You can make it really customized, and then in the end, you have many deployment options.
Oh, and you should say, it's all web-based.
It's all web-based, and it works all in the cloud, quote-unquote, and you can even test it out live. Like, it'll load up this little Java viewer, which connects over to, like, a little virtual terminal on their side. It's very, very cool. Yeah. So once your distro's ready, you can pump out, a USB thumb drive image, a live CD ISO, and all sorts of things. Well, then they added, the ability to have, like, a VMware hard drive image and things like that. Well, that just seems to cover it, doesn't it?
I don't know anything else out there besides
that covers your bases. Well, what if you take it a step further and you build it for Microsoft Windows Hyper-V server?
Right.
Literally, you could build a OpenSUSE-based Linux distro now and have it auto-magically spit out a hard drive image of .vhd file specifically for running on one of Microsoft's Hyper-V servers.
Well,
awesome.
I mean,
that is like the ultimate of super easy, didn't have to think about it, Trojan horse.
I might get...
It's great.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It is a Trojan
horse. It's awesome.
Because you can, I mean, so here's, I'll give you this. We live in Washington, right?
Oh, right.
And as a contractor, you just can't avoid...
You work at Microsoft at some point, or work with them, on Microsoft Tech, something.
And I'll tell you Hyper-V, it's probably one of the best Microsoft server technologies I've seen come out of Redmond in years.
Yeah,
it's good.
No reason to dog against them.
I wouldn't want to run Windows as my primary base operating system for a virtualization infrastructure.
Seems a little ridiculous, but
if you did, this is a Trojan horse way to start getting Linux in. And Windows admins have sort of, through the Novell deals and all these kinds of things, SUSE has sort of become like the Windows admin friendly distro.
Right.
And Yast helps with that. SUSE Studio helps with that. But
despite the fact that Red Hat ships a lot of closed source Windows software just to administer Red Hat servers.
But I just wanted to give a straight up plug. For SUSE Gallery, you guys. If you haven't gone through there and just browsed it.
Oh, yeah.
This is where we're getting one of our KDE distro spins from for this week's episode.
Yep.
You've also got GNOME spins up there. All kinds of great things that are just pre-packaged that you can download in various different ways. So go check out SUSE Gallery. It's SUSEstudio.com
and SUSEgallery.com also.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about it, like let's say you go to the KDE 4 Reloaded distro. It's basically OpenSUSE with the latest KDE 4 thrown into it.
Yeah, 4.8.
Okay, so great, but it's not quite what you want. It's missing some packages. It's got some crud in there you don't want. You just respin it basically, and you clone it, and you do whatever modifications you want. And then you can republish it, and you're like, this one's better than the other one. This one's mine, and create all the images you want. It's fantastic.
They give certain appliances get certified too, so you know they're safe. They give you the usernames and passwords right here in the details. But like you said, B-Man, exactly. You just take this
and make it your own.
One-click copy. You make it your own. You can see this one. This KDE respin's been cloned 5,563 times.
So let's say you set up KDE 4 just the way you like it. Well, then a brand new version of OpenSUSE comes out. All you got to do is a couple days later, they'll have a little upgrade button. Like, upgrade my little appliance virtual machine to the latest OpenSUSE, but keep all my packages, keep all my scripts, keep all my backgrounds, all my accounts, everything. Upgrade it. So now you've got the latest and greatest, and you have to do a darn thing.
You can even replace the boot up image.
Oh yeah, you replace everything.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
You can stamp Grub's little thing if you want to.
All right, enough fanboying.
All right. I just wanted to cover the story about Window Maker. Window Maker doesn't put anybody on the edge of the seat.
I don't mean to laugh.
No.
Go talk about Window Maker for a second.
Window Maker, I actually thought
Bring up their website.
I thought it was it's a great website, right?
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I thought it was dead because they haven't had a release since 2005.
I thought it was dead too.
Yeah, they just actually pumped out, just really kind of back to back, 2 new releases. The latest one came out on the 14th of this year. Before that, it was January 29th. Before the January 29th update, it was sometime in 2005. So it's been years between updates, but now they're out, and it's not really about what the features are. Because
Well, it basically it does add a few new features, but the features are things like changing like an additional maximize option, so you can maximize to the left half of the screen or maximize to the right half of the screen. That's the difference.
A couple of like new icon effects, bug fixes.
Nothing bigger.
In fact,
fancy.
the guy actually says here. Furthermore, a few code cleanups slipped in.
Yeah, that's nice.
So Window Maker, it's not dead yet. Not dead yet.
No, so if you're using GNU step, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's talk about
rock
something.
and roll.
Get your soapbox ready. Dust it off, Brian. It's been a little while since we've jumped up on it, especially when it comes to Apple on this show. But a couple of big things in the Apple world were revealed this week. Everybody got their peek at Mountain Kitty, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the Snow Mountain Lion Leopard, whatever. 10.8. I wanted to... I was hesitant to add this to the show notes because it's not about Linux.
We kind of avoid the topic.
But I have a little bit of a background story here.
Okay.
We went to Ubuntu Live
years ago,
and we made fun of so many great developers because they were sitting there with their MacBooks.
Famous developers, like really well-known.
Really well-known developers. And we realized then and there, and this really, like the first time it hit us.
Yeah.
Linux developers,
a lot of them,
a huge amount of them run OS 10. A ton of them. GTK developers, a lot of the GNOME guys, a lot of the KDE guys, they're running OS 10. And we just have dogged on them. I mean, we're like, you know what? It's fine if you got a Mac, or it's fine if you got a Windows PC.
Eat your own dog food, people.
But yeah, if this is your laptop that you're bringing to a Linux conference, like at the time, I had a Linux laptop and a Windows laptop that I had to use for work.
Right.
I guarantee you I did not bring the Windows laptop to OzCon and Ubuntu Live.
Right.
I brought my Linux-powered laptop.
Yeah, that's right. It was OzCon, too.
Yeah. So we made fun of them. We made a lot of fun of them. Well, now something's happening in the Mac world that's going to change all of that. And this is why I wanted to talk about this, because it really is going to impact what Linux developers are running in the best possible way. To start with, the next version of OS 10, 10.8, which is no longer called Mac OS 10.8. It's just OS 10.8. They're dropping the word Mac. They're getting rid of the fact that they use Macs, and that tells you something right there. Is going to, by default, require that applications be signed.
That's interesting, huh?
Now, it's going to be able, you can turn it off. This means that you cannot, by default, install applications outside of the Mac App Store. Now, you can go into your system preferences and hit a little toggle button and say, okay, you know what, allow it. It's just like you can on Android, where you can say allow optional outside sources.
Right.
So for this version, we can get around that. We can still install all the extra applications that you need to develop GTK and KDE applications under OS 10.
Yeah.
But Apple has made it very clear that that's not going to be the case going forward.
Yeah, exactly. What we know is that this is how the setting is this time, but it seems like the perfect stepped process. You introduce it, then you introduce the lockdowns, and then you take it away.
And then you take away the option to have it not locked down.
And maybe like the next version of OS 10 still has it, but you can only flag it like on the command line.
Right.
I could foresee like OS 10.9. Is that what they'd be at?
Yeah, they'd be at 10.9.
You could only, and then when OS 10, I guess
10
11
or 10.11 or just
out,
OS 11.0.
Yeah, when OS 11 comes out, it'll be like, oh, only from the App Store.
Only from the App Store. So this is really, and notice they're ramping up the speed of their OS deliveries again. Yearly now, which means really, at best, you guys, all the open source developers out there doing all the GTK development, working on, let's say, some mono work over on OS 10, which is, I think, their bread and butter now. You guys are going to be plumb out of luck in about 2 years. Now, I just think about this logistically. You can only put the apps on the App Store. You can only get your apps on your machine if you put it through the App Store. The App Store is pretty nasty against GPL'd applications.
Yeah.
Like they hate you. So you're not going to have control over it. You're plumb out of luck. And the great thing here is we're going to start to see those Linux developers
move, you think?
They gotta come over to Linux now.
Well, look at the situation,
which is really exciting. They're finally going to be running Linux.
Look at the situation over in Windows 8. It's not really much better over there with the new Microsoft Store.
It's not good.
No,
it's really not good. Everyone's getting super locked down. So if you're wanting to do that open source development, you're going to have to come back to Linux, which makes me so happy because a lot of the people doing a lot of the interface design work, building the things like the fancy new launchers that we're getting, a lot of them are developing it and designing it on Macs. Now we get to see maybe those guys coming back to Linux, eating their own dog food on a daily basis, and really making the platform even better.
Can I tell you?
I think it's exciting.
Can I tell you?
The fact that Apple is screwing up so bad, that is super exciting to me.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
I truly believe that the original genesis of Unity was Mark Shuttleworth looked around Canonical and said, all of these guys are using Macs, or a lot of these guys are using Macs.
Yeah.
What can we do to Linux to make them switch? And they said, all right, well, we need to build Unity.
Yeah.
And I really think that's where it came from, and maybe these things will catch up in time. I don't know for sure if Apple will do this, because I guess these guys could always stick with OS 10.7 or whatever it is until then.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Apple platform is they drop support so fast for the old stuff.
So fast.
That you really kind of get locked into a perpetual upgrade cycle.
A great example is, so a lot of the software, so we make our software for Mac too,
yeah.
Because, we try and sell it in the Mac store when we can and all those sorts of things. But we have to build using the latest Xcode now.
Right.
Which means, and here's the thing, the latest
that
version of Xcode is only available on the latest version of OS 10.
And through the App Store.
Yeah. Both. And so, really, they're very clear. The latest version of the development tools are only supported and allowed to be installed on the latest version of the OS.
So isn't the biggest story here now the only way to develop software for the Mac is through Xcode and via the Mac App Store? Because if you build any piece of software not through that chain,
it makes it harder and harder.
It won't be signed.
Right.
And if it's not signed, it won't be able to run on Mac.
Now, there are command line tools for signing the applications.
Oh.
So if you build, something using, let's say...
but you still have to have that $100 developer account, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. And you still have to get it signed, and you still have to go through the review process of the App Store. And in a couple of years, it looks like the only way to get stuff on your own Mac, really even, is going to do that.
Tyler MacBook in the chat room, ironically named, says that OS 10.8 is also going to drop support for 32-bit kernel extensions.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Meaning those with the Intel X3100 won't be able to run OS 10.8, and also I imagine a bunch of printer stuff. It's interesting. Yeah. I feel bad for the guys on the Mac side of the camp.
I feel super bad, but honestly, the reason I bring this up is because I'm excited about it, because it's nice to see Apple just being so draconian that open source developers aren't even going to be able to live there anymore.
Well, you know what made me laugh?
Super excited.
It felt like the app stores and all of that stuff were really a new iteration of distro repos and package managers.
Yeah.
And distro repos and package managers have solved the issue where you want your packages signed so you know they're safe without having to completely lock down how you install software on your box.
Yeah.
And it's like all the Linux distros out there that do this have already figured out this problem.
They've got it down.
And now you're watching these big commercial guys come along and try to re-implement something with a little prettier face on it and then just take it so much further in the restrictions.
Yeah.
It's interesting to watch this happen. Especially when it's something that we've already figured out years and years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That sucks. Tyler in the chat room says that MacBook he just got, which he just got it, won't be able to run 10.8. Oh, man, Tyler. I feel for you, dude. It's not that old of a MacBook either. It's pretty crazy.
I know how it goes, man. I have a MacBook at home that I use for testing. Because, come on, I don't want to go out and buy like a big giant Mac Pro to run OS 10. I'm like, that's not my thing. So, but yeah, this little MacBook I use for all my testing, I can't run the next version of the OS on it. So now I'm like, oh, man.
I know.
Do I have to buy a...
Let's ramp back up into Linux land with
time.
one last kind of Apple related story. Now, one of the things that we've commented a lot on the show is I can't believe Apple's had CUPS printing for so long. Now, remember, CUPS is Common Unix Printing System. I can't believe Apple's held on to this for so long and not screwed it up for Linux.
Yeah.
Because that's how Linux prints, is through CUPS.
Yeah, CUPS.
Well, an update came to the Fedora mailing list. It said, hey, FYI, some changes are coming to CUPS, and Apple is removing features that Linux depends on and making it more OS 10 specific. Now, the changes Apple is making, I actually think are better. Those of you who don't know, CUPS has this auto discovery process, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You can find other CUPS printers on the network through a UDP broadcast, and then they all become aware of each other, and users can submit jobs between different CUPS
works really
servers.
well, too.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Apple is taking that, and they're removing the manual way that CUPS does it with this UDP packet, and they're switching it over to dynamic DNS. You know, like how a ton of the Bonjour stuff on OS 10 uses this dynamic DNS broadcast?
Yeah.
They're making CUPS do that. But the problem is it doesn't work with Avahi, which is what Linux uses for that dynamic DNS stuff. So we now have the introduction of openprinting.org, which I think is what Linux distros are going to start shipping now in place of CUPS soon.
I think I should.
This will be a fork of CUPS, which will continue to support some of the Linux-specific things that desktops need.
Yeah, this openprinting.org is to CUPS what LibreOffice is to OpenOffice.
There you go.
Is basically
there you go. So yeah. Interesting. Did you see this happen?
Lord.
Although it doesn't seem like it's going to be that big of a dust-up.
You know what? Anything that helps to break away our dependency on Apple is better. I mean, at this point, really.
Say the two guys who have WebKit browsers right next to it, both up on their screens. I mean, I'm just saying, man, they're so big now that they're kind of like the Microsoft of the 90s.
But this is what I'm saying. Like anything to, we got to break away. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hear you.
I look at them right now and I'm kind of scratching my head because I just seriously don't know. Have I told this on the show yet?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so quick story. Yesterday was my birthday.
Happy birthday!
I woke up in the morning.
Stretching,
slept great
Yeah.
all night. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I reach over, I grab my Android tablet.
Well, let's check the email. See
Check
what's
my
cool.
email. I'm like, oh, good. Look, some people bought my game. Sweet. And I was sitting there, awesome. Read a couple of little comments about the game. They were all positive. I'm like, well, that's a good way to wake up on your birthday. Oh, there's one from Apple. Your developer account has been terminated. Happy birthday. And I was like, oh, what? So here's what happened. Developer account came up for renewal.
Sure.
You have to pay Apple $100 a year to get your applications in the Mac App Store for the privilege of giving them more money. So I do that because we make more than $100 a year. It works out financially. Great. So we did this. So I got a notification about it 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that, saying, "Hey, don't forget,
Jump on the stick, go renew."
Hey, what are you thinking? Maybe you want to give me $100?
So
maybe I let you keep some apps in the store. Maybe you keep making money.
Keep selling your apps. Come to us.
Oh, you made money last month. Oh, you want us to give it to you? Maybe you'll give us $100 first. I'm like, okay, fine. And honestly, I forgot. Like I immediately put it out of my head. I'm like, I gotta remember to do that. Then like a week later, I got another reminder. I'm like, okay, and it was even more Guido-ish. I'm like, okay, fine, I get it. I'm gonna go do that. So I pull it up. I click the handy dandy link they gave me in the email. Boom! It brought it up. It said, hey, Brian Lunduke, living at this address with this social security number, which is weird because I didn't log in. Okay, it wasn't my social security number, but it seemed like they had everything else about me from one link.
Right.
So I clicked on it, and they're like, hey, you probably want to be giving us the $100 right about now. Maybe 99. How about 99? 99 sounds fine. I'm like, great, fine. Click OK.
Yep.
Type in my credit card info. Check out. Got a little email in my inbox. Said, hey, good job. We're gonna let you live for now.
Yeah.
I'm like, fantastic.
You can keep making our store more valuable by distributing your software.
I totally forgot about it. I stopped thinking about it because I did it, right? I was done. Filed away. I've got enough other things to deal with. My daughter was spilling goldfish crackers everywhere. I'm like, I got to take care of that.
Right.
Then my birthday, 6 a.m. Wake up. Was disabled. You forgot maybe to pay us $100, huh? Oh, sorry.
Hey, Brian.
We have pulled all of your applications off of the App Store, and if you log into your account, you won't even see that they might have once existed. Also, the money that you thought you were making, it's going to zero out now. We don't know what's happened to it. What's happened to it? Maybe you didn't give us $100. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. And I'm like, are you kidding me here? So I started emailing them. I had a couple of contact email phone numbers. I'm like, seriously, someone got up. Here's the thing, my birthday, Saturday, President's Day weekend in America, which is a 3-day weekend, 6 a.m. Someone got up early to turn this off. Now, you could say, well, it's probably an automated system. So what you're telling me is they have an automated system that runs on holiday weekends to disable accounts.
But not to enable.
So during one of the biggest sales times, which is the 3-day weekends, in the Mac App Store, sales they double during those times.
Everybody's bored. They want to spend money.
Sitting
at home drinking.
So so far we're out 2 days of sales because we paid Apple on time.
That's the problem with these types of stores.
Mm-hmm. Whereas you can buy my game over on 2299online.com. DRM free, multiple platforms, cheaper. I get all the money instead of Apple taking a chunk. Mm-hmm. You can buy my software at Radical Breeze. You can buy it everywhere. But not through the Mac App Store right now. And now I'm worried because maybe once Apple fixes their problem, which they screwed up, will they be able to restore, the fact that people bought it?
Right.
Or am I going to have to go through and because I have no way to verify?
Reset back to like you've never been in the store before? Now?
Right. That's what I don't know.
Because
currently none of it exists in my login account.
Does that mean that your whole developer account is disabled?
I can log in, but I can't do anything. I can't submit updates. I can't see what's going on. I can't even see that I had apps.
The whole concept.
It's ridiculous.
The whole concept that they have tricked people into paying them for the privilege of distributing apps on their platform is funny because that's where all the value in their platform comes from.
Yeah.
So it's like they should almost be paying you. You know what I mean? In a sense? Because like you can't just buy a Mac and then not do anything with it. You need apps. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's ridiculous. Tell you what, though, as for all the flaws that Canonical's App Store may have, they don't do this sort of crap. If you get some sort of an issue up, you know what they do? They email you and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, Brian, maybe we should talk. Here's my phone number. Feel free to give me a call when you get a chance. I know you're busy, so if we do it next week, it's fine.
Right.
Oh, great. That's called customer service and niceness and awesome.
There you go.
Anyway, ridiculous.
All right, B-Man. Well, that's all the news for this week.
I want to review KDE 4.8, and the reason I want to review KDE 4.8 is because last week on the show, we said that we would review KDE 4.8.
And I said I'd switch to KDE.
And you said you switched to KDE 4.8. Wait a minute! I'd like to point out that I did not break down into a frothy ranting of swear words during the last segment.
It's true.
I just want people to notice that.
Take that into consideration when you flame Brian later.
There's a lot of anger that I just want to swallow.
You kept it in pretty good.
I kept it right in here. It's going to come out later.
Yeah.
Could be random
Although
times.
we could have done without you standing up and punching the wall a few times in between the break.
Well, we edited that, right?
Oh, I didn't.
That's
I didn't
not recorded.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's fine then.
Yeah.
Then nobody knows I did that.
All right. Okay.
So we're going to edit this whole part out, right?
Yeah.
So then I don't know.
Nobody
right?
will know any of that.
So, but KDE 4.8, we talked to Aaron Saigo about the tablet last week, and one of the big things of the tablet is it's running the latest KDE with all the cool Plasma widgets and the Plasma activities.
That's true.
So really, I know we're reviewing all of KDE 4.8.
That's a hard thing to do, too.
But what I want, personally, what I focused on the most was using those activities and trying to use them in such a way as to fully understand where KDE is going, because KDE is making a big push with these activities.
Yeah, the activities thing, I think, is probably the most interesting thing. Now, they're not totally new to 4.8, but their implementation is much improved, and they're definitely taking it to the next level. And they're
obviously going places with this.
And as Aaron talked about, they're going to take them even further, and maybe eventually have security differentiators between them and all kinds of things. And I think the best way to think of activities is to think of like a virtual desktop that has assigned functions already and apps that can preload when you open them. And they also have here. I'll show you. I would say they're kind of almost in some ways too like virtual machines in a sense. Check this out. So it's at the bottom of the K menu here. When you bring it up, you have your different activities, and I just have default ones here. I have new activity, which came by default, and then I have photos activity, which also came by default. You notice though, there's this little stop symbol right there. Yeah. You can actually start and stop these different instances. So like right now I'm in the new activity instance. If I hit the photo activities instance, it changes my whole desktop layout, and I could launch my photo programs. It could launch specific widgets that I have for this. All kinds of things. There's all these contextually aware events that can kick off. So activities is big.
Activities is a huge deal. It is. It's almost like having little virtual machines that aren't really virtual machines. It's kind of cool that way. I do like the stop and start thing. I really dig that you can really configure the hell out of each activity. Right. So I mean, you go into each activity and switch between them. It's like a whole different computer.
I set up just for playing on my main rig. I set up like a show research activity. Yeah. And when I bring it up, it's got the RSS feed from our subreddit in a widget. I've got a Google Docs, page opens up, and on top of that, I've got like little links to like commonly used sites that I go for digging and stuff like that already all predefined in a widget. And then just to geek it up, like I put like my CPU monitor on there and things like that. And then I have like a pristine, clean working environment that I can go into that doesn't have any of that crap. It's just completely free. So here's why. So watch. If I switch back now over to like the standard activities, you can see like there's different icons, different wallpaper comes up. You can have different everything.
Yeah,
I love that.
Everything. Yeah, I basically did the same thing. Like I had one activity was just games. It was just launchers for various games, and it automatically kicks up with a DOSBox installation and a sync term installation. Boop, that pop right up and launch, and they set tiled properly, and it's like it's ready to go.
Yeah.
I had another one that was just for designing my comic strip, and just the tools for that lined up in a row in the order that I would use them in. It's like it's a nice way to be able to focus on each individual task, and I kind of dug that. I mean, it really, in a lot of ways, it's not technically all that different than a virtual desktop.
Right.
But the ability to completely change what widgets are up there and change your wallpaper and change all of that stuff took it just enough further that it made it easy for my mind to differentiate between tasks.
Well, the other thing it does is whenever I think of my virtual desktops, I always think of that 4-grid little icon in like my bar. And I always, so my first one is like my whatever. Yeah. My second one is always my email and chat. My third one is, whatever project I'm working on. Like I already
kind of do that.
So this is like an official version of that. Now, I haven't played with it a lot, so maybe there's a faster way to do it, but I personally kind of find the process of going down to the menu, clicking on this, and there's probably a hotkey that I just haven't learned yet, and then having to manually select them. I would much rather just be able to do like control arrow or something like that.
Yeah, you can set the hotkey for it. It's like meta something or other.
Yeah, I figured that's the case. I just haven't done it yet. One of the other really big improvements in KDE 4.8 is the power management system. And the power management system, that kind of seems like, why would you talk about that in a review? Check out the level of detail you get with this thing. Now,
it's pretty cool.
You get your standard on battery, on AC, what to do, what actions buttons do, and of course the one I'm showing you right now. Here, I'll show you an OpenSUSE because it gives you a few more options. If you're on battery, it gives you even more great options. But the thing that I really like about it is they've tied in activities with the power saving stuff. So depending on the activity desktop you're on,
isn't that great?
You can actually dictate different power
totally
profiles.
Different things.
So like you could have like a presentation activity that the screen never goes to sleep on.
Never goes dim.
Right.
Yeah.
So whenever you're on this activity, you never even have to worry about it.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
That is such a good idea. That is an obviously fantastic idea.
I'll give you a great example. Sitting here doing the show, I never, like that screen was asleep when I went to it. I never want my presentation screen for the show
to go to sleep. That's incredibly annoying.
So I could be in doing a show activity,
right?
And that never
showtime activity.
Yeah. I mean that's awesome.
Fantastic.
The granular level of control they give you over the power settings is really good too, and it's interesting to see some of this stuff that other distros like OpenSUSE in the past have hacked together custom tools for that give you this level of control.
But now it's built in. It's part of KDE.
Yeah.
So
and tying it together with activities, it shows you the overall approach they're taking with activities.
It's great.
I really do like that.
I honestly kind of made fun of Aaron a little bit when we talked to him on the show, but about activities, because I mean it's a fine idea. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just kind of thought, it's like a virtual desktop, no biggie.
Right.
But you know what? The more I play with it, the more I'm getting it. It is very different. Like GNOME Shell goes about it very differently. They have the infinitely expanding virtual desktops where you just keep doing new tasks and you get more virtual desktops.
Right.
KDE went a totally different way. They said, you know what? Figure out what you're going to do. Don't just have an infinitely expanding bucket of places to stick windows.
That's hard to organize too, just for me.
It's hard to organize.
The way I work.
Just decide what you're going to do, name the damn thing, put your stuff on it that you want, and when you go there, do that damn thing.
Right.
And I really, like, something about that appeals to me. It feels grumpier. It feels more draconian, but it's like it's KDE empowering me to be grumpy and draconian, not them enforcing their grumpy draconianness on me. Do you know what I mean? I love that.
I want to branch off from that. So this will be the second thing, so save it for later.
All right, I'll save this one.
I'm really understanding how these will work in the context of a tablet.
Right?
Yeah.
It makes total sense.
Yes. So I totally get that. The other thing, though, what you touched on, the grumpy part and the do-it-yourself part, I would say earlier KDE 4s, and especially KDE 3, felt very cluttered.
Very.
And there is still some clutter in it, like
but that was kind of its charm, right? Like KDE, the KDE 3 series, that was its charm. It was incredibly cluttered. There was a billion options, way too many trees to follow.
Dolphin is probably the least cluttered application now in KDE, their file manager, which is
nice.
Which has gotten a bunch of
great
improvements for really cool scaling.
It's fast, it looks cool.
I threw it at a directory that had 1,000 files in it. Rendered
instant, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, instant. But look at when I drop down the wrench. There's a lot of stuff in here. And what always has gotten me about KDE since version 3X, or before that even, is look how many things right here say configure. Configure shortcuts, configure toolbars, configure Dolphin.
Oh, isn't that sexy?
It is. It is. You know what? Because it's been slimmed down just a bit now, where it still feels like I'm getting a lot of control.
A lot.
But it's elegant control. It's not like this. It's not like this haphazard control, and it's not like GNOME or Unity where all the control's been taken away.
Yeah,
this is sort of like that middle ground where it's maybe stepping a little bit on the cluttered end.
Yeah,
but I would rather err on the side of cluttered and have power than to have it taken away from me.
Yeah, exactly.
And the KDE is, I think the KDE guys are totally walking that line right now, and I'm digging it.
I'm digging it too. They've done a nice job of making it so it's not too hard to find the preferences you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. As opposed to maybe some other window managers right now that are going the route of the preferences you're looking for just simply don't exist.
Now, I'll show you if you're watching the video version.
It's a big difference.
Watch the icon scaling here in Dolphin, and remember, this is not 3D accelerated or anything like that. It's still crazy smooth. Now, when you do 3D accelerated, it's nice and it's like butter smooth. But even here, it's still working great. And like if I resize the side pane, real nice smooth come on, VM mouse. Nice, look at that. Real, just
Dolphin's peppy.
Dolphin's very fast.
Dolphin is incredibly peppy.
Dolphin's is passing Nautilus like on the track a couple of times now, and as far as performance goes, it's
really getting not.
Yeah.
It's really getting nice. I kind of liken it a little bit to Thunar over on the XFCE side of things, where it's fast, it feels light, and it feels peppy, and I like that. I like that. It's not Spartan in features. It does everything you want it to do. It's just peppy.
Now, my favorite new feature of KDE 4.8 is the notification center.
You like that?
Oh boy,
it's pretty nice, isn't it?
Man, they've consolidated all of these crazy notifications. Now, I don't have a lot because I just literally booted this up for the show. But you can have like package update notifications, IM notifications, new device inserted notifications, all this different kind of stuff. The notification center consolidates them all. Categorizes them, but here's the really cool thing about the notification center. It's written in the new QML markdown that KDE 4.8 supports.
Yes.
Or at least the device notifiers. I'm not sure if the entire notification center is. But it's slick, and it's
super slick.
This QML, this QML was introduced by Nokia and their work with Qt.
Right.
So it's interesting to see, even though Nokia has pulled back, what they have worked on is amazing. Is making its way into KDE in a usable form.
It's great.
So this QML could really empower all kinds of new widgets.
So the notification system, I love it too. It's honestly, I feel like it takes the best of like the Android honeycomb and ice cream sandwich notifications, and it makes it a little bit more customizable. And then that's pretty much what it is. It's very, very nice. It applies immediately to tablets, but what made me happy about it was it works just as well on the desktop side as it does on the tablet touchscreen device side of things, and that kind of surprised me a little bit, because when I first saw it, I'm like, this looks just like the honeycomb Android notification thing. Really, I mean, it's at the bottom of my screen, it's kind of in that same spot, and I click it and all the same kind of thing going on with the X. It looks very similar. But this worked really well. It worked better for the desktop than I thought it would.
A couple of things I want to mention is KWin.
Yeah.
Very peppy. And I think people have said that for a lot of KDE releases now. This feels like the fastest KDE. This is what I'm showing you right here for the video version is worst case scenario speeds.
Yeah. There's no 3D acceleration whatsoever.
It's crazy fast here, you guys. I mean, this is running off of a 7200 RPM drive, and it's really it's just not bad. I'll tell you though. You put this thing on an SSD, it flies. Everything instantly pops.
It does.
Console pops open. Everything pops open. It is very fast and efficient. But KWin itself has seen a bunch of great tweaks. It's starting to feel very comp-is in its options.
In its presentation quality and options, it is feeling very comp-is.
Lots of like, you can tweak the way windows open and close. You can tweak all the animations.
It's very barrel,
But I'll tell you, KWin on my little it's obscenely large. My HP MV 17-inch has an ATI Radeon 58 something in that thing, and everything makes that run hot, especially Unity. Or especially GNOME 3, the graphics, whatever it is about those, the GPU it runs so much that my laptop fan has to.
That guy is a beast. Yeah.
KWin did heat it up a little bit, but I'm telling you, man, I sit there and my laptop had never ran quieter and cooler.
Really?
It's OpenGL accelerated, but whatever it is with, I don't know if it's the way that they're using the effects, or if it was maybe improvements in the ATI driver and the way it handles cooling. I don't know what the reason is, but I have never had my laptop run cooler when I switched to KDE and turned on KWin. It was very awesome.
See, this is... I feel like the work they've done to make this ready for the slower powered ARM devices and the tablets and whatnot has really paid off in the speed and the power efficiency of just KDE across the board. And it's just like we were talking about with Aaron last week. KDE has had that stigma for years of being a little slow, a little pokey, and it was just kind of a little bit of a kludge. But you loved it. It was great. It was configurable, but a little pokey. But now there's something about it. I commented the screenshots and their videos of that tablet just looks so silky smooth. And I'm like, come on. Dude, I'm telling you. I threw this on an HP netbook. Way underpowered.
Yeah.
I mean, not a fast machine. 1 gigabyte of RAM.
Yeah.
1 gig of the byte.
Yeah.
Ran great.
It's
super fast.
This VM.
I was blown away.
This VM is like, it's got 2 cores assigned to it and like 1 or 2 gigs of RAM, and that's it. And it's running great. Here's a quick run through of all of the new KWin
KWin
compositing effects. Hey, look at all this stuff. You got your traditional like tweaks you can do to your cool
explosions and burnings and all the stuff that we loved when Barrel and Compiz were first hitting the scene.
But it's built right into KDE now. And tons of options you can tweak, tons of stuff.
That's great. Including the good old-fashioned desktop cube.
Yep. One of the other things I wanted to mention is I
miss that desktop cube, I tell you.
I like that they're shipping KDE with some default activities, but check this out. You can create a new activity, and if you do it, you can go download templates from their new template gallery.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes. So right here, they have just like activities you can download, and so some of them are like multimedia activity, schoolwork activity, development activity. Now this development one won't work because I don't have all the prereqs installed, but here I'll go ahead and install the activity. So now I've installed this development activity template. So now when I say create activity here, I can say templates, and then I can just say from the where is it here? I don't see it. It's supposed to be right here.
It usually is right there. Maybe you got to close the activity thing and bring it back up.
I'll try it. Here, I'll close it. Because
I know that works.
Let's pretend like, it does work. Let's pretend like I just downloaded this newspaper layout.
Yeah.
So now I have this new activity. It's the newspaper layout, right? That I got from just their little downloader thing. I love how KDE has so many things. I'll just automatically go out and download it. Now when I go over here, in theory, if I had everything I would need, it would launch the apps and all that kind of stuff. Now, it's not ready to be set up yet.
But it's right there.
How cool is that,
It's very cool. It's very cool.
It's a great way to get started. I guess that's really that's all the positive stuff.
And my impression though is that activity repository that they've got is really just mostly for inspiration.
Get started.
Like really the whole power of these activities, setting it up so granular like how you want it, it gives you the ability to essentially have 20 PCs on one PC without running virtual machines, without any of that other stuff. And everything has access to each other, so it's still powerful.
And if you start, because you're running that many desktops and apps can take memory. If you start getting a little out of control,
you just kill them.
You got these little stop buttons. You just stop it right there. Boom. Kills the activity.
Kills it.
Right there. And then
kills it dead.
And you can just resume it. Boom. Resumes the activity.
Isn't that great?
It's super awesome.
God, that's awesome.
So that's my positive stuff. I'll say the performance is great. Fastest KDE yet.
Yeah. By far.
I'm still not 100% with all the defaults. Like, the fonts are too small and jaggedy. They don't look good.
Okay.
Like, I'll tell you. I'll include links in the show notes, too. But as I was playing around with the different KDE 4.8 setups, I wanted to see what the different distros were doing. So I used Sharaka Linux, or Shakaraka Bing Bang.
Chakra.
Which is the one I'm running here.
Yeah. Shakaraka Bing Bang, or just Chakra. Depending on what country you're from, maybe.
I tried the latest Ubuntu, and I also tried the Ubuntu betas. And I also tried the OpenSUSE Gallery Remix, which we'll put a link to in the show notes. It's really the easiest way to get started with KDE 4 is just go grab it from the SUSE Gallery. I would say, in my opinion, Chakra and OpenSUSE, the KDE 4 Remix, have the best implementations of KDE 4.8 at this time.
Yeah, I was using SUSE.
All of them across the board, though, kind of need some tweaks. So you know what I did? I'm sticking with it. Last night before the show, I formatted the OpenSUSE build off my laptop just to play.
Yep.
I loaded Arch Linux, installed the KDE Meta package.
Nice.
Which pulls down
everything.
Just like everything.
Yeah. Everything that has the word KDE in it, pretty
including
much.
Like some of the crap I didn't want, like the edu stuff, the edu stuff and whatnot. But it's a crazy great way to go. Crazy. You got to tweak a lot of little things.
I tell you, when you want to play with the bleeding edge, Arch is the way to go.
The last thing I just want to tell you about my love affair with KRunner.
Actually, before you continue, the fonts thing, same problem with me. I was running the OpenSUSE. That was actually my #1 gripe with all of KDE, was how great everything looked, how well designed everything was, and how much the fonts pissed me off. Like, I don't know what it was, but I kept looking at the fonts. I'm like, this looks wrong.
The rendering just doesn't look right. I hear you.
So what I did, I went over to Blambot. Blambot.com. And they've got just some crazy fonts in there, but they've got some design fonts that look really good. Some good, like, terminal looking fonts, and they're really high quality. I swapped them in. I use them, I basically replace them across the system, because that's the beauty of KDE. Everything's crazy customizable. Boom. Now I had really nice fonts, and it looked great.
Now, I'm not sure how well this will show up, but I want to show KRunner here for a sec, because KRunner is like my new love affair with KDE. It's like GNOME-Do. It's like Quicksilver.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of them, but it also does like so not only is it a launcher, so you could do like email, and it'll go through and it'll try to find your email application and things like that, but you can also do like math, like 5, I don't know, let's say 5 + 6 equals, and then it'll give you the answer.
Yeah.
So it does like a lot of different stuff. You can do contact searches. I love KRunner.
KRunner's fun.
And it's just Alt F2 away.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, boom, Alt F2, email. Boom, Alt F2, pigeon.
Yep.
I love all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Really feels like the power user's desktop.
It does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It super, super does. Yeah. That's kind of where it's at. You know, for a while, KDE wasn't that way because they did the big 4.0 change. They had to get rid of a lot of what was there in the KDE 3 timeframe, so for a while, KDE 4 was the early adopter of KDE desktop. And that's all it was.
Right.
Now, dude, all bets are off. I mean,
well, look how far KWin has come
it's fantastic.
since 4.0. I mean, KWin is just a totally different game now.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is downright amazing what they've accomplished.
So it's super easy to try it out. Go over to the show notes. I'll put a link to Shakaraka, and a link to the KDE 4 reloaded from SUSE Gallery. Both are crazy easy to get started.
Just call it Fuzzy Donkey Linux.
If you've sort of been floating in that Linux desktop nowhere land, I hear from a lot of people like, I don't like Unity, I don't like GNOME 3, I don't like Mate.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm a KDE guy. Try it out.
It's worth trying out.
I'm not 100% solid yet, but I'm giving it another week.
Honestly, though, the problem with KDE is you can't just try it out for a day. I mean, in order to give it a real spin, you got to live in it for a few weeks. You really do. Otherwise, you don't know what you can do. You aren't comfortable with it. It's just there's so much there to learn. It's huge. I mean, it's like jumping into Awesome Window Manager or Xmonad, but just for an hour. You won't be able to accomplish anything.
No.
But once you get really used to it, you uncover the power, and then you're blown away.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do is now that I'm kind of done with the review aspect of it, I'm going to start funking it all up. I'm going to try different,
apply some funk.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm going to stink it up like nobody's business.
Oh man, it's going to get stanky on his laptop.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, if I get it all stunk up just the way I like it, and I don't like the way it smells, I think it's XFCE for me.
You go to
really
XFCE.
Do. Although right now I'm sticking with KDE because, to be honest, I really like Dolphin.
Dolphin's great.
Once you tweak Dolphin so you can manually put in like the address bar and stuff like that, I'm just like, SMB:// machine name, enter, and I'm browsing all my machines because I put like Samba on everything.
Dude, seriously though, Dolphin plus KRunner plus the activities. That for me is like, well, those are pretty awesome.
Like the chat room saying, like Not So Noble is mentioning, there's a lot of really awesome widgets now. Like when the whole Plasma widgets things came along.
It wasn't that much.
No.
Yeah.
No, and
you create a little tiny widget and then you rotate it and you're really happy that it rotated.
The widgets is actually an excellent example too of their downloader capability because you can go get new widgets. They include a whole bunch, and this is also not a new 4.8 thing, but I just love it.
Yeah.
Is you can go get out of there, little thingy. You can go download a whole bunch of new Plasma widgets. Oh, also. You can run in
Google Gadgets.
Google Gadgets too, yeah. So you can just go here and you can. I always just sort by rating, and then there's all your new gadgets, and some of them are really awesome.
Yeah, some of them are fantastic, and they're really. They're pushing for the tablet thing. Like this is the way to go. Like you just get these widgets, and essentially these widgets are the applications you run. Unless, of course, you want to run desktop Linux applications, then you can still anyway.
And I just think if I'm already impressed with these widgets. Can you imagine once QML gets really adopted by these widget developers?
And they just take off?
These widgets are going to get even better.
I know. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I really like it. For me, it's weird. My two desktops of choice right now are basically Awesome and KDE. And they're the most different that you could possibly have other than they give power to the user.
You know what it is?
But they look totally different.
It's like it's the simplicity. It's either I want to go super simple and just have the desktop manager get out of my way.
Yeah.
Or I want a complete suite that just really does a lot of stuff.
Is all over it's just awesome, yeah.
And KDE feels like that's the sweet spot for me. Yeah. So there you go.
KDE is great.
All right, B-Man.
Yeah, awesome. Best release of KDE they have ever had.
Oh, by far.
Bar none.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, in a time frame when we've got so many brand new desktop environments and window managers that are still kind of trying to find their footing, this shines. I mean, it just shines.
It really does.
Yeah.
Compared to the competition, I mean, they're bringing their complete
And I'm
game.
not a KDE guy. But this makes me
man.
shine. It's just amazing.
Yep. All right, everyone. Well, that's the Linux Action Show's look at KDE 4.8.
And that concludes our broadcast day. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us because it's fun to hang out with us. Wouldn't you say, Chris?
I have a blast every time I hang out with you.
Fantastic. All right. So we have things to talk about. For instance, we can talk about that. Remember that game I picked?
Yeah.
That you can go buy that. You can go to lunduke.com. I have some information on that with some pretty screenshots. You can go over to 2299online.com. Click on the links to go to the game, and you can grab that for $5. Linux DRM free. You also get a Mac and Windows version, but Linux DRM free because I love you guys. Linux DRM free.
Nice.
So you can also go over to Radical Breeze, Illumination Software Creator. We have the contest still going on just till the end of the month. The winner gets a tablet. We've had some really, really I don't know how to say it other than say kick-ass entries so far. We have some really cool disparate applications. You can build whatever kind of software you want to submit it. Once you submit it, you're in the running. We're giving away games from GOG.com. We're giving away an Android tablet. It's going to be rad. Everyone's going to love that. Fame and fortune awaits you if you
I love
do
you
it.
giving away games from GOG.com.
Absolutely.
Donald in the chat room says he just bought Illumination Software Creator.
Right on you, Donald.
There
Good
you go.
job. Because you know what that does?
Puts
Puts food on my table.
Yeah.
And I really like that, especially now that Apple is taking away
Right.
my ability to make
Right.
money there.
I hear
So if any of you want to spread the word about either of those two amazing pieces of Linux software that run on other platforms too, I would not be offended. I would not get upset. I would not stand on top of the roof, tutu, semi-automatic, etc. I would not do any of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, you can get a hold of us a lot of different ways. Twitter, there's links in the show notes. Facebook/Jupiter Broadcasting.
Everybody loves Google Plus.
Google Plus, there's links in the show notes. To us, to the Jupiter Broadcasting specific stuff, you'll know when we go live. You'll know when we don't go live.
When shows come out.
We know when the shows come out.
You'll know if there's
and you'll know what random things we're thinking about that are not all that important.
or schedule changes.
We do that sometimes.
Sometimes.
Not that often, but sometimes.
I want to give a quick plug for this last week's episode of TechSnap. TechSnap, everybody. If you haven't watched TechSnap 45 or 44, so TechSnap
Good shows.
it's our systems network and administration podcast.
Yeah.
Fun show, great show. Last two episodes, we've had some IT war stories.
Yeah.
And
They're good ones.
the first one from 2 weeks ago in episode 44 ended in the server room burning to the ground.
Yep.
That kind of sucks. And this last one, it was dude's first day on the job at IBM Tech Support. And this is a few years ago, and he had to troubleshoot a Win95 problem. It is hilariously disaster for this guy. Great war story. We've got
They're pretty fantastic.
TechSnap is it's a technology show that doesn't really get all wrapped up in the platform wars. We just talk about everything and generally focus on security.
No, I gotta say, I love these war stories. They are my favorite part. Because honestly,
I feel for these guys.
TechSnap, awesome show.
Yeah.
But you guys get all like sleepy making sometimes. You get into the details.
Yeah.
I mean, which is great.
Technical detail.
But man, things burn into the ground. I guarantee you that makes me wake up. I'm like, wait a minute, what was I listening to? I love listening to action movies.
Yeah.
It's basically what this was.
Right.
It was fantastic. It was a nerdy action movie in a podcast. How can you go wrong with that?
One last plug. Mr. Mango wants us from the chat room to mention that the Humble Indie Bundle, the latest version, is live right now. They're doing like a
The
live.
latest version is always
No,
fun.
they're doing like a live.
They're making a game.
Yeah, like live right now.
Yeah,
Which
they're-
most people, it'll be over by the time they watch.
They're spending 3 days to make a game, and
Mojang,
whatever they manage to make in 3 days, they let you have for whatever you bought it for,
From the Minecraft guys.
which is pretty cool. It's just purely for charity, so it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, B-Man. Well, I think
no
that's...
guarantees the game's any good.
No.
But it doesn't matter. It's
They
for
got a good-
charity.
they got a
And
good
it's-
track record.
It's kind of fun anyway, right?
Yeah. All right, B-Man. Well, I think that just about wraps up this week's episode of the Linux Action Show.
Yep.
And we'll be right back here next week.
Yep.
Ready? Okay, we are recording. We're recording.